Good afternoon, you guys. I'm Morgan Hendricks. We're just going to start. Before we get started with the show, we want to give a couple announcements for you guys out there. Senior Picture Day is coming up. Get in touch with, what's her name? Excuse me. Kiana Norman. $5 slots to get your pictures taken for Senior Day. You don't want to miss it. Slots are filling up fast. So get in, sign up, and pay your due and get your pictures done. All right, and we're gonna get started with the show. Just a trigger warning: this discussion does include discussions about abuse, so please be advised. And let's get right into it. What's up, guys?
What's going on?
How y'all doing today?
You know, can't complain. Just another day, another dollar. You know what I'm saying?
Well, just getting into today's theme. So today we're going to talk about, can you separate the artist from the art? Recently, one of Michael Jackson's accusers' case had been dismissed. Wade Robson, who appeared in the Leaving Neverland documentary that came out in 2019, that has since had quite a few people dispute the facts in it. And then, of course, it also in 2018, 2019, we had the Surviving R. Kelly doc, which that exposed a whole lot of stuff going on behind closed doors. What are you guys' opinion just on, can you separate the artist from the art?
Okay, so in R. Kelly's case, I'm just start with that. In R. Kelly's case, you can't really separate that art from the artist because he was talking about what he was doing in his art. So in that case, when you bring your personal life into your art, you can't really separate the two because now they together. You know what I'm saying? But however, besides him, say a person like I don't know. I forgot. I lost my train of thought. But anybody else, I don't know. If you don't bring your art into your personal life or vice versa, you can separate the two. That's how I feel.
Kim?
Well, this one's a little personal for me, only because I am an artist and I do, I record and write music. It's hard because it's like one side of me wants to say, yes, you can separate the artist from the music and, make that differentiation. I think I said that right. But then the other half of me is saying, like, no, you really can't, because as an artist, we put our lives in this music. We put our lives in our songs. We write about what we go through. We write about how angry we were, that heartbreak. So, like, with the R. Kelly situation, that's hard for everybody because we all grew up to his hits. And it sucks because he was writing about what he was doing to these young underage girls. And it's like, dang, I love Step in the Name of Love, but dang, like, what does it really mean? Like, who are you really talking about? Like, it just sucks. So I want to say, I guess for the show, you really can't separate the artist from his music. And I guess in the R. Kelly sense, you want to say it's hard.
Yeah, I'll definitely say for me, just like you said, all three of us have some kind of artistic background and things like that. I'd say for me as a writer, I write from my experiences, whether it be a song or, just in general writing. Is just kind of hard to separate the artist from the art. I know it's kind of it's a common thing, that a common conversation that happens a lot. I don't think you can. And of course, it gets tricky because no one's been like convicted of anything yet, at least. So it's kind of tricky in doing that. One of our viewers says the problem was he was hiding the truth in his songs. Nobody caught on to it because it was just good music. Which I completely agree.
I agree with that one. Yeah, for sure.
The documentary kind of covered some of that, and where they showed how he was able to manipulate these women and manipulate his team into basically copping for him, and being able to hide his dirt behind closed doors. Do you think that with other artists, well, not even necessarily limiting it to artists, because of course There's figures in sports and things like that that have had issues in the past with either domestic violence or just violence in general. And it's kind of a recurring theme in the NFL specifically because you have people like Ray Rice and others that have experienced domestic abuse or other incidences of violence, and then they end up, back in the NFL, back getting a job. What do you guys kind of think about that aspect of cancel culture in a way?
I think for me, honestly, hold everybody accountable. We should take accountability. I'm not going to say like with the cancel culture, a lot of times I feel like sometimes they could go too far and forget that people are humans at the end of the day, struggling with different mental illness and problems or anger issues, whatever it may be. Yeah. Like, let's say for domestic violence, they beat these people, and yeah, hold them accountable. Whether that's taking them off the team, taking them to jail, whatever that case may be. And once the action is done, go get help. That don't mean cancel his whole life, because at the end of the day, he is still human. He made a mistake. If he owns up to it, grand, and he gets the help that he needs, don't cancel his whole life, because he's still human at the end of the day. That's for me.
Yeah, Armani?
Yeah, I agree. Like, because we all are human, like Cameron was saying, and like our viewer was saying, like, money, you can get away with anything. I agree with that. However, I feel like the cancel culture is like, it's becoming so trendy now. It's like people are getting canceled for the wrong things. Like, somebody will give an opinion on, like, oh, I think they'll get an opinion on a woman, so I think women should do this, or a woman to get opinion on a man. I think a man should do this, whatever. Boom. Oh, cancel her because they talking against men. Or cancel him because he's talking against women. But it's a whole person over here raping and beating on people, whatever, and they still getting praised for it. So it's like, if we gonna cancel somebody, cancel it for the right things or for the important things. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel about it. And with
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, with the whole like NFL thing, not everybody gets penalized for the abuse that they did. Honestly, like that guy, the white guy, what's his name? Chad, something about the tall dude.
Yeah, I know.
Almost killed his girlfriend.
Yeah, from the Seahawks.
Yeah, and he's still, from what I understand, he's still on the team. He hasn't like faced any backlash for that, anything like that. So,
well, he has still been cut from the team. As far as criminal charges,
I ain't heard nothing about that. And then if anything, I feel like he can be placed on another team if he really wanted to. They just want to blow it over, because privilege. You know what I'm saying? I just gonna leave it like that. But I feel like if you go hold somebody accountable, hold everybody accountable for the same thing. That's all. So yeah.
Well, yeah, and one of our viewers has to say, most people think that celebrities are different, but they're humans like us, and it makes no sense to treat them differently when we bleed the same blood. I completely agree. A lot of times we put celebrities and athletes and people in the public eye on these pedestals where they not necessarily should be. It always makes me go back to the Charles Barkley commercial. I'm not a role model, don't let me raise your kids. It's kind of the same thing that we've seen with female artists lately, with Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion. People kind of criticizing their video and their song WAP, for its explicit nature. But things like that, I just feel like it's definitely important to remember that, for one, we're all human, but at the same time, repercussions and consequences have to be dealt when it's proper, when it's ordered. Let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back here after these messages.
At Prairie View A&M University, we've been igniting passion in students for more than 140 years. It's about inspiration. It's about global influence. It's about self-expression and individuality. It's about trailblazing a path of excellence. It's about engaging in the greater community. Above all, it's about helping you realize your dreams. Ignite your passion. Experience Prairie View A&M University.
Welcome back, guys. We are PV Unleashed. Just getting back into the discussion about can you separate the artist from the art in all aspects, not just music, but sports as well, things like that. I do want to ask you guys, do you think that there's a way back, or there should be a way back from quote unquote cancel culture? Because a lot of times we see people have these discussions about cancel culture in a way that they feel like once you're canceled, you're canceled indefinitely. Do you think that there should be a way back, or that there is a way back from being canceled?
Yeah, honestly, I feel like everybody who's been canceled, you put the air quotes in there, hasn't really been canceled for real. Like, they haven't really been canceled because they say on Twitter, "Oh, I ain't really messing with dude," but behind closed doors, they still bumping whatever, they still watching whatever, they still support whatever. But they're not gonna say that because, like I said, cancel culture has become a trend. So they're like, "Oh, well, let me follow this trend. Let me look like I'm important. Let me stick to the in crowd. Let me stick to the status quo." And like, "Oh, I'm not gonna support this artist." But like behind closed doors, "Oh, I really do mess with so and so. So I'm gonna just, on the slide, ain't nobody gonna know about it." You know what I'm saying? But that's just how it is. So,
Cam?
For me, I think there is a way back from being canceled. As you see throughout, history, a lot of these artists always make a comeback. Especially, I guess, let me say this: it depends on how severe the case is. Like for R. Kelly, I feel like there should not be a way back. I mean, no, there should not be a way back. Like for like smaller instances, like for a lot of comedians always get penalized for like a lot of the jokes that they make. And they always end up having to come back and apologize, even after being canceled. But there's always a way back. Like, they're human. Like I keep saying, they're human. They make mistakes. Like, there should always be a way back. You can't just, because I made one mistake, you're going to cancel me and like my whole life. Like, what? But there's always a way back. There's always a way back.
I do agree that there should be a way back. If that person has dedicated themselves to doing the work to get back and prove to the public at least that they've changed some. But a lot of times we see some people kind of use the mistake as a scapegoat and be like, "Oh, well, I made one mistake, just move past it, blah, 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 blah."
Yeah.
I do believe that there are some mistakes that should not be made. Whether it was a mistake in the time, especially as it applies to race or gender or, sexuality in this country, I feel like there's definitely some things that, you just shouldn't make the mistake of, saying some things. We saw like kind of either last year or the year before, mainly during quarantine, people were going through celebrities' old tweets and things and finding things.
that was a dark time right there. Yeah. Oh my God. Nobody was safe.
Nobody was safe.
Nobody was safe.
And that was finding time. Like, why would a person want to go through somebody's old tweets? Like,
we was all stuck in the house bored, so we had to find something to do. Right. It was nothing to do at that time.
Yeah, but a lot of that you saw people were like, "Oh, well, this was back in high school and I was a kid and I was just doing dumb stuff." And I think we're all old enough to remember kind of the wild days of Twitter and things like that, where people really were just out here saying anything. But I do think that there's still some repercussions, because it's not like you were saying these things because you knew the impact that it would have or the reaction that someone would have to it. So I believe that, there's still got to be repercussions for that. What do you say to people that use cancel culture as kind of like scapegoating in a way where they're like, "Oh, well, I just made one mistake, I should, y'all should look past it," and things like that?
I feel like if you say, "Oh, I just made one mistake," look past it, that's not taking accountability. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it should be a way back, but you still gotta take responsibility and accountability for that mistake that you made. You still gotta acknowledge that you did make that mistake. and then you make the change, and then we can start the process of you coming back to whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I feel. So.
Agreed. I think that the first thing is accountability. Take accountability for your actions. I mean, yeah, it might have been a mistake, but make sure you take ownership of that mistake and say, yeah, I messed up. Yeah, I did this. I might have said this. I didn't understand that the impact it would have on you guys, but I am sorry. And then we can move forward. Because if you just brush it off, that's just leaving room for you to
You don't care. Like you don't really care. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, you don't really care, and that's leaving room to make the same mistake. But if you're saying, okay, you know what, you guys, I heard what you had to say, and I do apologize. I do apologize if it's offensive to anyone. That was not my intentions. I'm working on it moving forward. That not only helps you build trust between you and your friends, but that, that just helps you be accountable at the same time. That lets them know, like, okay, well, he made a mistake, and he was accountable. He's man enough or woman enough to own up to that mistake, and let's move forward together.
Perfect.
Well, and while you were saying that made me think of last week we did have the verdict in the Derek Chauvin trial, and shortly after the reading of the verdict, the Raiders what was it, the Raiders Twitter page put up this image of this thing where it said I can breathe, and it put the date. The Raiders owner kind of took responsibility for it, saying that, well, for one, a lot of people, said that it was tone deaf, and things like that. But it's all right, y'all. But a lot of people called it out for its tone deafness because, for one, that the slogan, well, not necessarily the slogan, but the saying that I can't breathe came out of, for one, of course, the George Floyd incident, and as well as Eric Garner when he was being arrested and things like that, when the cops were on top of him. So that kind of came about with that. So people, called the Raiders post tone deaf and things like that. Since then, the owner has came out and said that, he derived this saying from something that one of the members of George Floyd's family had said, and saying that with the verdict, they finally felt like they could breathe. So he used that and kind of translated that into the post. But of course, still, it kind of seems off the mark. And then, of course, he still stood by his post, saying that he wasn't going to take it down. How do you guys feel about, people that kind of make the mistake and then kind of justify it in a way that it just doesn't seem right? So what do you guys think about that?
If I may start, for the whole Raider situation, I saw that post, and for me, I don't know about anybody else. For me, I took away from it was that I didn't see it as a negative thing for me, because I felt like he was saying, like, what we all want to say, like, I can breathe now, like, because we're always putting our breath when it comes to verdicts, when they killing us.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't see nothing wrong with it. That was just me personally. I was like, oh, okay, they're supporting the cause. Like, I can breathe now. Now that justice has been cleared, I can breathe. But I definitely do see the other perspectives of what everybody else was saying. But for me, it was just kind of like, oh, okay, well, thank you for the support. Like, you said basically what we all were saying in front of our TV. Like, oh shit, I can breathe. Like, dang, he's going to jail. Okay. That's for me though.
Yeah, I agree with that. When I first saw it, I didn't see any. I took away what he was already trying to say. I immediately understood what he was trying to say. So personally, I was like, it's cool. But then the breakdown of how tone deaf it was, the timing, and the misinterpretation that was there, I understood the uproar and why they wanted it to be taken down. So I get that. And then for him to like not want to take it down and like kind of like justify it, that's kind of like looking bad on his part, because he wasn't trying to understand the other side while the other side was trying to understand his. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, just a big mess. Yeah, just mind blowing, bro. Like, I can't even put into words. But
I mean, I guess if you take it out of the sense of just the Raiders and broaden it, it's never okay to not understand something. Like if you know something has hurt people and it's something you did and you refuse to take it down, that means like you're blind to the fact of what you're doing. And that's not the accountability. Like, but I guess for their sense, it makes sense because like, well, I feel like I didn't do nothing wrong. I feel like what I'm saying is not wrong, so I feel like I should not have to take it down. But it's just that's why I said it's just a mess. Like it's really just a mess. It's like
it's really like
you never really can just choose a side.
Right. It kind of gets into a battle of opinions whether someone is offended about it. For me, I would say that it just seemed like it was unnecessary. I get what he was trying to do, and I get what the voice was behind it. But when you kind of saw the backlash and the reaction to it, I felt like it would have just been okay to just step back, delete the post, and just let it be. But with him kind of standing in it and saying, no, I'm not going to take it down, and basically refusing to take it down when, a lot of the public had kind of called for it. I just felt like it was just kind of creating a whole nother situation where it didn't necessarily need it to be one. But yeah, let's take a quick break and we'll be right back with more PV Unleashed.
Even though there is so much against us,
you will see me choose to protect myself and my community from the coronavirus by wearing a face covering.
Because it's going to take all of us thinking about one another.
And even with my face covered, you will see me.
You will see me as a mother, a wife, a friend.
As an athlete who gave everything to the game I love.
As a father, leading by example.
As a sister.
An entertainer.
As a champion for my people.
You will see me finding a light in a dark time.
To unlock our creativity and push our craft.
You will see me demanding the space to tell the stories that matter.
As a man who knows that tough times don't last, but tough people do.
Join us in wearing a face covering to help stop the spread of the coronavirus.
Because covering your face is one small act of kindness that has the power to bring us together.
Ooh, it's stuck.
Oh. I mean, we're back, guys.
Yeah, guys, we're back. We're having a couple of technical issues.
Yeah, technical difficulties over here. But we are back. Let's see.
Well, let's take this time. There we go.
Okay.
Just getting back into the concept of cancel culture. How do you guys kind of feel about people using it as almost like a buzzword now, where people are like, when you call someone out, they're kind of like, oh, I made a mistake, or telling them that they made a mistake, and not even necessarily just like calling them out in the traditional sense where it's like making an issue of it, but letting them know that, this made me feel a certain type of way. Could you adjust your behavior? How do you feel about people kind of being like, oh, well, you're trying to cancel me, or you're trying to impose something on me that I don't want to do? How do you guys feel about that?
All right. So like I said earlier, the whole cancel culture thing is becoming like a trendy topic now. Like everything else becomes, but that's just how it is nowadays. But it's like it's getting to a point where celebrities, like I find celebrities having to make apology videos for actions that they made, but it has nothing to do with us. You know what I'm saying? And like we were saying earlier, they're still humans at the end of the day. And the same stuff they was apologizing for, we probably do it every day, but we don't get criticized for it because we're not in the public eye. You know what I'm saying? So that's the only difference between us and celebrities is they under a public eye the whole time. So I feel like when people be like, oh, you trying to cancel me, or now I gotta make an apology video to make sure all my fans know that I'm sorry about it. But really, I'm not really sorry about it. But I just want to keep my fans. It's like it's becoming a whole force thing. Like it's very forceful now. You know, and everything's just forced and like it's not. I don't know. It's just real trendy and forced like everything else is. So yeah.
Yeah, I definitely get that. That made me think of SNL actually did a skit a couple weeks ago with Daniel Kaluuya, where they were kind of talking about that, where it's like these guys were making these YouTube videos, and then of course they had to subsequently make an apology video for doing something on camera.
Yeah,
and it just kept happening and kept going and kept going. So I definitely believe that it's kind of become a thing. Where it's like you apologize, but there's no real contrition to that apology. Like you don't really feel anything about it. Yeah. Cam, you have any thoughts?
For me, on this whole cancel culture and stuff, a lot of the times I feel like some people do be genuine, and I feel like some stuff is genuine, but a lot of times, cloud chasers, and the whole with this whole thing, people lack understanding and empathy. Like we said before, we are all human. We all bleed the same. The only difference between me or them and us is that they're famous. They're held on a higher pedestal than us, and that is the only difference. What I might do every day, and let's say if I'm famous, what I might do is more on the public eye versus what you might do. If I say something offensive, it's already gonna be on like 6 videos, all on the news. But if you say something offensive, you go to bed, you go to work the next day, you get up, and you don't have to worry about it. But for these celebrities, let me see how to put this. They're just kind of like they're forced to be in the public, not forced to be in the public either, but they're forced to always have to have that good image, to always be upright and just. And in reality, we're all human. We all make mistakes. We all have our bad days. We all go through emotions, whether that's depressed, anger, whatever it is. This generation lacks empathy and understanding. And that's why cancel culture continues to ruin careers. Cloud chasers continues to, ruin careers and shake tables because people lack empathy and what was I saying? Empathy and understanding. There it is. I lost my train of thought. But I mean, all people see now is money signs. Oh, I'm gonna go chase his celebrity because he got money. I can get money. How can I sue him? How can I make this about me? How can I get money from him? It's more than that. We're all humans. They work hard for their money. Go work hard for yours. It's
do they though?
That's simple. I mean, a lot of them. I mean, but some of them. A lot of times, a lot of people work hard for their careers to get where they're at some point. Some people get there in a day. I mean, it just really depends. But overall, they work hard for their money. Some people, I guess. But go make your own money. Go make your own name. Stop trying to get your fame and piggyback off of other people. Like
that's so lame. That's the lamest thing you can do.
Lame.
The lamest thing you can do is try to make your name off somebody else's. Lamest thing. I don't care who you are. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how much money you got. I don't care what you're doing. If you trying to make your name off somebody else's, you're lame and you lost. You need to get that together for sure.
All right, guys.
Yes.
Before we wrap, there are people out there that will still listen to R. Kelly or listen to certain artists that have things. What do you have to say about the people that are kind of the guilt tripping of people that do still listen to it? For me personally, I have not stepped in the name of love since I've seen that documentary. As for me in my house, R. Kelly is muted, so specifically, and I try and do my best as well to kind of keep certain sports figures that have had issues like that. If there hasn't been any real kind of contrition that I've seen, to me, kind of keep them out of my mind's eye. What do you guys think?
About the R. Kelly thing, I don't personally.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't personally listen to R. Kelly like that, but there are a lot of hits that he's contributed to. Nah, for real. Look, it is a lot of. It's PV Unleashed, man. You gotta let them know. But like, it's a crazy amount of hits that he's like taking part of that you have no choice but to listen to something R. Kelly has done. And it's like you don't know it, but like it's gonna happen. You're gonna listen to something that he's wrote, listen to something he's produced, because that's how spread out he is. So, but like his personal music, I don't listen to. I say that. So.
Cam, you looking a little?
No judgment though. Like no judgment, bro. For real.
No judgment.
No, since the documentary, I really don't listen to his music. Like, I'll turn it off. I tell my friends to turn it off. I tell my parents, like, can you turn the song? I do slip up sometimes because I listen to maybe 1 or 2 songs. Like some of my favorite songs that come on my playlist, I'm like, oh, I want to skip it, but I'm like, I haven't heard this in so long, and I feel so guilty. So I listen to it, and then I feel so guilty after, and I'll be like, I'm just not gonna tell nobody. But I really don't listen to his music like that no more. And that all comes apart with just holding him accountable. But everybody's different. I can't judge anybody else's household. People view what he did differently. Some people believe it, some people don't. So for me, in my household, we really don't listen to him like that. But for everybody else in their household, if they really do, they don't want to, that's on them. Best wishes to them. No judgment here.
All right, guys, we're going to leave it at that. I'm Morgan Hendricks.
I'm Cameron Smith.
I'm Armani Biggers.
And this has been PV Unleashed. We'll see you guys back next week.